In a world dominated by digital interactions and virtual connections, the irony of modern times lies in the prevalence of loneliness and social isolation. Despite being more connected than ever, many individuals find themselves grappling with profound feelings of detachment and solitude. Human beings are fundamentally social creatures, and genuine connections with others are essential for our overall well-being and happiness. However, the art of combating loneliness and embracing social interactions requires conscious effort and a deep understanding of the remarkable benefits that await those who choose to engage with their fellow human beings. Loneliness is a psychological condition that affects people who feel that their social relationships are less than desirable. It can be triggered by various factors such as the quality of the relationships they have with other people, or the lack of quantity. According to psychologists, loneliness is a stable trait that can be influenced by various factors such as the weather, the people around you, and the way you live. For most people, their levels of loneliness will stay the same throughout their adult lives. However, they can increase gradually over time. Prolonged loneliness is known to increase the risk of depression and other mental health conditions. It can also lead to a shorter lifespan. Studies also suggest that people who are lonely are more prone to experiencing poor social support and introversion. Theories of loneliness. According to psychologist Michael Weiss, friendships can help people maintain their loneliness, but they can't replace a personal relationship with a partner. Sociologist Robert Weiss developed the attachment theory as the basis for his theory on loneliness. He identified 6 social needs that people can meet to feel better about themselves. These include a sense of worth, social integration, reassurance, and guidance. Loneliness can also be triggered by children displaying insecure attachment patterns. This type of behavior can lead to them being rejected by their peers, which then makes them distrust other people. Although loneliness has been around for a long time, it has only been regarded as a psychological issue for a short time. During the 20th century, psychiatrist John Bowlby developed a theory that focuses on the importance of an attachment between an infant and their caregiver. Another theory that focuses on the connection between loneliness and personality traits suggests that it can be triggered by various factors. For instance, it can be triggered by social anxiety and social inhibition. These characteristics can hinder an individual's ability to interact properly with others. Studies have shown that people who are lonely are more prone to experiencing difficulty forming and maintaining social relationships. They also tend to avoid sharing their personal information with their social peers. The cognitive approach to treating loneliness is based on the idea that the individual's perceptions and attributions are different from one another. For instance, people who are lonely tend to have a pessimistic outlook on their lives. They also blame themselves for their lack of social relationships. The cognitive approach also takes into account the various behavioral and attachment perspectives to explain how loneliness can be triggered by various factors. For instance, it can be triggered by the failure to meet the social needs of others. Loneliness is also perpetuated by the lack of social skills and the negative self-attribution that results from poor social interactions. Consequences of loneliness. When people were told that their social, intimate, and relational needs were being met, their happiness and satisfaction levels were significantly higher. In a psychological test, participants were asked to complete various measures to evaluate their levels of social connection and isolation. When they were exposed to loneliness, they scored higher on various psychological measures, such as anxiety and shyness. They also exhibited lower scores on measures of optimism, social support, and self-esteem. Due to the complexity of the issue, it has been difficult to conduct effective studies on loneliness in an experimental setting. One of the most challenging factors researchers faced was separating the effects of loneliness from its causes. In one experiment, researchers asked highly hypnotizable individuals to recall a time when they were feeling lonely. After they had returned from their hypnotic state, they were able to recall a time when they were highly connected. The results of the studies revealed that people who are lonely tend to develop negative social expectations and behave in ways that reinforce their expectations. This can lead to them being more likely to behave in ways detrimental to their social needs. In other words, they are more likely to react to social threats such as competition and hostility with a heavy hand. The negative self-protective lens that people have about their social world can also affect how they cope with stressful situations. According to the researchers, those who are lonely are more likely to withdraw from their stressful situations and engage in less effective coping strategies. Being withdrawn from stressful situations is sometimes a reasonable thing to do in certain circumstances. Still, it can also lead to an accumulation of stress, which can become oppressive and taxing. Prolonged exposure to stress can also increase the risk of physical and mental health problems. Being lonely can also have detrimental effects on an individual's health. It can lead to various physiological changes, such as higher levels of stress hormones and poor immune functioning. So, how do you deal with loneliness? The first thing that needs to be done is we have to be more tolerant with each other. Overcoming loneliness is a group effort that no one individual can achieve on their own. We need to recognize that sometimes another human cannot fix loneliness in their own, and that we should be more responsible for each other. We need to start thinking about the other person who is also struggling with loneliness and try to help them out. Try to help other people with their loneliness for their sake. Overcoming loneliness requires compassion and empathy from both ourselves and others. As we strive to connect with others, it's equally vital to be understanding and supportive when someone else confides in us about their loneliness. Second thing is that we need to become more dependent on other people. We, as a society, are getting increasingly independent, and the need to interact with other people on a daily basis has decreased significantly. The percentage of people who have never been in a romantic or sexual relationship is rising increasingly fast over the past several years, even though we are more connected than ever, and there are more ways nowadays to get into a relationship through the rise of social media and dating apps. The number of people who have never had a friend or have zero friends is rising as well. Being interdependent is seen as a weakness in today's cutthroat world where everyone fights for himself. People used to sit together and talk, and now they watch talk shows. There are even apps that allow you to create a digital girlfriend to date. If you need to meet people, there is an app for that. If you need to get some food, there is an app for that. Some people have become so independent that they don't even know what it feels to hug or be hugged, and they instead send a GIF or emoji of people hugging. There are technological substitutes for almost every essential need we have. There is a massive touch starvation epidemic where people are severely lacking intimacy in their lives. Studies have shown that touch deprivation can lead to increased stress levels, weakened immune function, and disrupted sleep patterns. Babies and young children deprived of touch and nurturing in their early years can suffer adverse effects on their social and emotional development. Today, it seems that the needs of the individual outweigh the needs of the community, and that should not be the case. Together, we can overcome loneliness and create a world where genuine human connections thrive. If you found this video helpful or insightful, continue the conversation in the comments section below. Share your experiences, tips, and stories on how you combat loneliness or support others in their journey. As we wrap up this video, remember that reaching out to someone, even with a simple hello, can make a significant difference in their day. Let's spread kindness and understanding as we navigate the complexities of loneliness together.